Hi, I'm Carla Herbert.
And I'm Anthony Herbert. We're here today to go through our moves, our international moves on behalf of Talk Education. We've had 3 moves internationally. First one was back in 2012. We moved from Sydney to London with our 2 daughters. Then in 2016, we relocated from London to Hong Kong. And then halfway through last year, 2020, we moved back home from Hong Kong to Sydney. So we're going to tell you a little bit about our journeys along the way when it comes to education.
Looking for schools long distance is difficult. Different time zones, different education systems, and having a company like Talk Education would have made the process a lot easier. When we moved to London, we were really lucky to have Alice provide us with a short list of some prep schools in London for our daughters, who were 9 and 6 at the time. Without her knowledge, we were relying on what we had just read online. However, choosing a school in Hong Kong was a completely different process. We moved in December, so we were halfway through the school year. Emily was in year 6, Sophie was in year 9. And there was the real possibility that Emily was only going to be able to go to a school for 6 months and then have to start a new high school in, the following year. We didn't really have anyone that was able to provide us with any background information about the schools. We were going into a completely different culture, and it was just up to us. We had to put in the time to go and visit Hong Kong several times, make the visits to the schools, and make a decision on basically what we had seen with no inside information on the schooling in Hong Kong. Not only that, it was just a very difficult time for us. My father had just passed away. Anthony was already living in Hong Kong, and I was then left to have to pack up the apartment in London and move the girls over. So if we had had something like a company like Talk Education, again, that would have made things a lot easier, especially going from London into a different culture, in Hong Kong. Starting school in London was probably the most difficult for Sophie. Being 9 years old, she was starting in year 5 and starting during the preparations of 11 plus. This was really, really difficult and stressful, something that, we wish we had prior knowledge about so we could prepare her better for it. We also weren't aware that this would then determine what high school she was possibly going to go to.
One of the unexpected things for myself, had we had Talk Education, knowing our move from London to Hong Kong, we came up with debentures with all the international schools in Hong Kong. At the time, we weren't aware of this. If the company's not paying for the debentures, it is quite a costly move. So that's also one thing that we weren't aware of, and I'm sure if we'd been with Talk Education, we would have found out about that a lot earlier.
Both the girls have loved their experiences in both Hong Kong and London for different reasons. They've made wonderful friendships. They've got friends all over the world now for the rest of their lives. We've met some fantastic families that we've kept in contact with and will keep in contact forever. What I would have liked to, have known is just how different the education systems are. With Talk Education, I'm sure that would have been made known. Any testing that could have been done on the girls to see where there were any gaps in their education going into the UK system, filling those gaps with prior tutoring to moving, meaning that they would have started school feeling as though they weren't behind in anything and could go in feeling quite confident. I would go into any move with an open mind. My advice is to get involved in school, be it as a parent representative or as a volunteer. This is the best way that you can get to know different families within the school, understand how the school runs, and meet new friends. That's the best way to meet new friends. It can be quite isolating, moving, not knowing anybody. So this, contacts through the school, are the best ways to make new friendships. I certainly wouldn't hesitate to move again. The experience, I think, for us as a family was wonderful, and it really is just amazing what, everything that we get to experience.